Here's another video update on the progress of the backyard project, Amalie Gardens. This time I'm starting on the deck. Kind of shifted plants around because I realized when they were up against the house, against the siding, that it might have been the heat from the siding radiating back onto the plants, but some of them were getting leaf burn. So you can see some of that right here on this, these beans that I just started growing, the leaves were starting to get burned. It also started to happen with something else I had up against the house. But I moved them away and we'll see if that makes a difference. This is a tomato. This tomato actually is a volunteer. I guess what that means for those of you who don't know is that it's not a tomato that I planted. Actually, in my compost bin way over there, which I recently emptied, just before I emptied it, I noticed that this was growing out of the side of the compost bin. So I transplanted it into this pot until I can get it into that bed. And actually, in that bed is where I dumped all the compost that was in that bin. But yeah, this is what's been going on. From the last video, you'll notice that a lot has changed. I have my plants here, my lemongrass, these. Here's a chive, green onion, that tomato that I mentioned, mint, catnip, oregano, citronella, stevia, strawberry plant. And we have some, this is rosemary, and this is merengue. And down there I have, that's a tomato that's actually a sucker that I pruned off of another tomato plant, and it's catching, so that one is going to go in the bed as well. There I propagated a mint from that mint right there, so I propagated that one to start another mint. That's my lavender. Up here I have my basil, which seems to be catching back, but the cilantro is. And I think this is a volunteer romaine lettuce, if I'm not mistaken. It might be. I'm going to see what it turns out to be. And then I have my onions. This is my romaine, which is bolted, so I can just basically get rid of that and pull it up. And my broccoli. I'm still doing an experiment with both this broccoli and this kale. And they seem to be bug free for the past few days, so we're going to keep watching them and seeing how things go. Just a little bit leery on that kale. And here are the 4 pepper plants that I grew from seed. Hopefully I can get these to grow quickly and get something out of them this year. But yeah, that's what's been going on up on the deck. The deck I shifted around. That's my barrel that I'm using to temporarily catch rainwater. The reason why it's right there in the middle of the deck is because when we had the storm, we had some damage to the roof, and that gutter right there is kind of leaning out, so water runs off the edge of that, and it comes down, and I catch it right here in the barrel. And that's my little work area for now, where I keep all the fertilizer and other tools I use in gardening. Also out here you'll see, I don't know if I did a video where there was a huge bunch of these wood chips right here. There was a pile right there up until yesterday, and I cleared that out and got it laid out here. These are my bags of compost and manure that is going to go on top of that new bed once it's settled. Well, let me backtrack. Let me do an update on what was there before. This is the garden that's doing pretty good since I put in the wood chips. I built this canopy or tunnel system out of PVC pipe, and had some EMT conduit that I cut and stuck in the ground, and then put the PVC pipe over it. The PVC is 3/4 inch. The EMT conduit that I cut is 1/2 inch, so it fits together really nicely. And then I got this mesh that I put over it to try to protect my ripening tomatoes and stuff from birds. So we'll see how effective that is. But yeah, that's what's happening with this bed. So that's in full growth. Lots of tomatoes on there. That one back there, I think it's an early girl. That's ripening. You can see that down there. And this is my another work area. That's my compost bin. And that's a view of the garden from this side. These wood chips are what I harvested out of this area. The previous owner had this as a play area, and they had wood chips laid. So over the years, I guess the wood chips broke down. So what I've been doing, that sifter back there that I just showed you, that sifter, I built that out of 2x4 and 1/2 inch mesh, and I had it set up right here. I'm gonna actually have to put it back later, but I've been sifting the dirt and the chips, and that's where I'm getting that soil from. And then I put the chips over there. I'm going to use those chips to spread, maybe in beds or in certain areas. So I'm going to have this type of wood chips and that type of wood chips in here. So I'm going to figure it out so it looks good. This is the bed that I just finished building this Sunday. This one is just about completely organic, no purchased soil or garden bed soil or anything like that. All that is harvested soil from that was in here. On the bottom is clippings, grass clippings, tree branches and bushes clippings that I gathered over the past few months, and that's in the bottom. Then I put cardboard, quite a bit of cardboard, and then on top of the cardboard I put compost and peat moss. That's the only thing that I bought that I put in there, peat moss. That's probably not as organic as I would like, but that's to help build some volume. And then in the compost that came out of the bin over there, I put in here with the peat moss, and then on top of that I put this soil. And then on top of this soil is going to go those bags of leaf grow and manure, and then some of those chips, and that's going to be this bed. So I'm not sure if this bed is going to be ready for planting this summer, but maybe we'll do some cool weather planting for in that bed. The plan for right here is to I was going to do a circular keyhole garden, or somewhat circular keyhole garden, but I'm kind of skeptical on the mechanics of a keyhole garden with the compost circle in the middle. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to do a U-shaped raised bed. That's going to kind of be similar to a keyhole, but it's you'll see how it's going to work. It's probably going to be more beneficial than it's going to be better use of the space too, I believe. So that's coming. I'm going to start working on that. Once I get all those chips moved out the way, I'm going to bag that up into large bags and store it for reuse, and then I'm going to harvest all the soil that's under here, because I think below all of this is about a good 3-4 inches of soil. So I'm going to sift that out and get more of that. So I'm going to use that soil from there to put in the bed, and then I'm going to also top it off with the manure and leaf grow. Hopefully I can get some grass clippings from friends and neighbors to use in the bottom. I use only clippings and stuff like that from people whose lawns are organic. They don't use chemical fertilizer or chemical weed control, pest control. So yeah, that's what's going on. I think I showed you guys the drainage system that I have in there. I put in that drain right there so that when the water runs down here, it comes down and gets into the drain. I have a pipe that runs underneath that goes down here, and it goes down to another drain, so that water that builds up in this area will drain into that. And then right there, I'm going to put a pop-up drain that then the water comes out and comes up. It pops up and drains on, washes out to the grass and continues out onto outside. So yeah, that's the update on where the garden is going. I do have a whole lot of wood chips left. Hopefully when I'm through, I think this is gonna compress and settle as time goes by. So I'm gonna stack it. I'm gonna keep stacking it a little bit more higher. And of course, I'm going to put some chips right going down there as well. Between the beds, between the raised beds, I think I'm going to stick with those brown chips. So this area will be just for, you know, just an open area, whatever. And from there, we'll see how it goes. So that's Amalie Gardens as it is right now. See, I got more chips there on the side of the house that I gotta move quickly. And as you can see in the distance, more chips still on the driveway. So it's coming together. I think by next year we will have a full-blown production on corn and melons and potatoes and tomatoes and onions and garlic, and plan to have a lot going next year, hopefully. God's willing, everything goes well. I do have to get rid of a whole bunch of pallets that I got, because I got those pallets, I got some there, and I actually got some more underneath there that I have to get rid of, because that I was going to use those. I was going to disassemble those pallets to use to build my keyhole garden. But since I'm going back to just using this standard system that I really like to build my more rectangular keyhole garden setup, I need to get rid of those pallets, so I need to put those on giveaway. These buckets are what I use. These are empty right now because I use those to wet down each layer of material that I put in the raised bed. So these are empty, so when this rain comes, hopefully I can get those filled up. So that I only have one bucket left of water, as well as the barrel. And when all of that, this work is done, I'm going to put those away underneath the deck so that they can look a little bit more tidy. Oh, I forgot, I didn't talk about the okra. These are okra that I have growing in these pots. They're doing well. I think I see some oh, I think we have some small okra growing there. So we'll see how those do. I think next year I won't grow those in pots. I'll put those in a bed. This has been a learning experience, so I'm learning what I want to plant together and what I don't want to plant together, just because like the cucumbers, they're going to have to be so caged because they run like crazy. And then the squash need a lot of room, it looks like. So I'm going to plan my garden a little bit on next year based on spacing and vertical planting. But yeah, we've got quite a bit of tomatoes coming in there, looking real good. The spinach didn't do so well. I think I planted those too late, so they've already bolted, so I need to get those out of there. That's a new cucumber that I put in there. I was going to say cucumber because that's how we grew up saying it. And this is my zucchini. That's the one that I grew from several months ago, and this is a new one that I just planted a few weeks ago. And this cage that you see here, I'm going to tell you guys about that later on, but it's I don't think I'll ever buy tomato or any kind of cages again based on this. Those of you who are familiar with what that is, you see what it is and how I was able to make a really cool cage out of it. And that's going to be my system for moving forward. I'm also going to use that same item to make my trellis to replace this one that my wife does not like, and I don't kind of blame her. It does look kind of raggedy, but it doesn't work well either because oh, I didn't talk about the peas. The peas did not like this trellis. They didn't climb it, but they did produce some peas, and I'm gonna have to pick those and get those out of here. Probably gonna bring those beans down here also when I build the other trellis, and let them grow on that. So this is the garden. This is Amalie garden. Under this bed of wood chips is cardboard. At least 75% of it is covered with cardboard. I don't think this end is covered with cardboard, but it should have enough coverage where weeds won't come through, won't grow. And this whole area is gonna, and it's really comfortable to walk on. It's really spongy and soft. So this is what's been going on. Thanks for watching.